What's going on, guys? This is Alonzo, man. So I'm making this video because I'm doing a series of videos, okay? And I've been in the space of comedy for a very long time. I've done about 9,200 stages in around 25 years. And so now, one of the things is what I'm doing is I've helped a lot of comedians and non-comedians. People have done TED Talks. I've had the pleasure to be on the same stage with a few people you might know. One of them is one of the gurus from the show Shark Tank, and also the founder of Booking.com. And so, also, I was on the same stage with these guys, which was really interesting. And one thing I found out was really kind of wild is that a lot of the speakers came up to me afterwards and started asking me questions because they wanted their message to incorporate some humor, because humor is a big skill set that I think anyone should understand and apply, especially if you're in front of an audience. If you're someone that likes to teach, someone that likes to speak in front of an audience, but have them hold your attention. Humor is a huge skill set to acquire and to understand, mainly because most people, you can't go get a degree in comedy, yet you can get a degree in music or in acting. It's really crazy because comedy is a huge industry. We got a lot of big names, and believe me, I write along the same lines as a lot of national comedians. I've written for Jay Leno back in my day. Performed with national touring comedians, headliners, a lot of people that it's hard to mention all their names because some of them stopped doing comedy and some of them are still doing it. And I've taken 3 different workshops in comedy. However, one of the things that I saw, and especially because of my experience and my background, is there's no structure when it comes to taking these classes that I took. Kudos to those. I'm not knocking their talent. However, my background dictates a little different, and I've done other types of trainings. I've been an instructor for 8 years teaching those defensive driving classes. So I've taken boring subject matters and I've made them entertaining for people. Think about it. You got to sit through a 6-hour class because you got a speeding ticket, and those are court ordered. However, it goes to help your insurance discounts, plus it takes that ticket off of your record. And that's why a lot of people take those classes, because they sit there for 6 hours, and that's helps them. However, the content is still the same. Like, I have to teach, guided through TEA regulations, a certain amount of structured material that the audiences at the classrooms need to learn. Stuff about some laws changes and that. However, the point is, I've made it really entertaining. I did it. I've had returning customers, which is kind of funny. But a lot of people really enjoyed the class, considering the fact that they had to spend all their Saturday with me, or during a week, But that's the price. That's one of the qualifications. So, with that said, is I'm depicting certain things in comedy. If you're a speaker, you're someone that's in front of an audience, and I'm going to put this together and I break it down. So I define what humor is, and it's made of 3 ways. It's physical comedy, writing comedy, and also verbal humor. Now, there are pillars in comedy that are important if you're a speaker, if you're in front of an audience, that you need to understand. And one of them is observation. Okay? Observation, I'm going to name them and then I'll explain some of them. Observational humor is important. Callbacks is important. Also, you have monologue style humor, and some of the biggest stuff is personal humor. So when you're telling a story, it's good to bring part of your personality into your story. But I'm also focusing on voice inflections, using your body, using your mannerisms, using all those things so you're not monotone. Because when I was in Florida, I saw a lot of speakers in a matter of 2 days. So it was like a cattle call. It was 25 speakers. One was up there. I had to go check her pulse. I don't know if she was breathing or not. But she just stood up there like a mannequin and started talking. And didn't break anything, didn't engage, nothing. So there's a lot to understand. So I'm making it very simplistic. And again, I'm going to be doing a series where I'm going to break down 3 to 5 things that are going to help you. So, and then I'll also show you writing and incorporating your humor into your message, into your story. And the way I teach has a lot of benefit because you can apply the skill. This is a multi-functional skill of humor in your personal life and your professional life. So I'll do other videos on different topics and different things. However, it's all the same. The structure is, the understanding of it is, the mindsets, how comedians write, And I'm breaking this down before, and so think about it this way. So let's say whatever your message is, you obviously write all the information that people first you want them to know when it comes to writing. So in a story, in a message, when you tell a story, you have a beginning, middle, and an end. So you're taking them through this rabbit hole. It's really your message should be more of a transformation. It's like the person that's hearing that story needs to see themselves in your story. Okay? And as a speaker, especially if you're in the neighborhood in this area of self-help and you're selling something in your message, you're wanting them to subscribe to you in your message, you wanting them to take some type of action, then always leave them with something of value. Hey, you know what? I did these 3 things. So in your message, you have the beginning, middle, and the end. And you're stating your own. You said how you started, how you went through things. First of all, in your story, your struggles and your challenges, and then of course there's going to be a point where you're going to pivot. It's like a rags to riches story, or how you went from being poor and poverty to being a millionaire by something that you did, you created. And so that information that you have, you're going to touch other people's lives. You're going to touch others. And we all have a tribe. We all have our own people that are ready to learn from us. This is what I've learned in this industry and being in the self-help space. However, again, learn from comedy is what I found it. Okay? So I'm going to give you a quick tip. So when it comes to observation, if you're in front of a room, okay, and I look at everything from what the announcer announces you, to what's in the room, to how people are responding, acting, that's the observing. Now, what am I observing or looking for? is the quirky, the weird, the what stands out and what grabbed my attention. So I don't want to confuse you because I don't want to come back and forth with different topics. So the point is that observational humor, personal humor, monologue humor, writing, and as I talked about earlier, it's written humor, physical humor, and obviously how you say it. So your voice inflections, and I'll give you a couple tips. Number one, if you're going to talk about a person, a character, or someone like you mentioned your dad, get into the way your dad really is. So if he's loud, try to be loud. If he's soft, try to be soft. You're basically doing an impression of that person, father, mother. When it comes to dog, you can make an animal come to life based on the characteristics of that dog and how do you think that dog would sound. So when you're telling the story about, your life as a kid, act out that kid. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, that's what's going to bring engagement, because you're not just standing up there talking. Your voice is going to change. It's going to go up, down, considering that's why people that do impressions spot on, man, no matter what they're saying, that they're able to hear that person. Now when they can actually hear the person and physically do some of the momentum, some of the things, physical things of that impersonation, that's what makes it even hilarious, right? So writing comedy is stemmed from real simplistic things. What happened to you, you take it. Now in comedy, what makes it funnier is when you go from bad to worse. So I'll give you a couple joke examples that I use all the time. I said, before I got married, I used to struggle dating. And now that I'm married, I still struggle dating. Or, I'm married 27 years, the same woman. I've slept with the same woman for 27 years. So when my wife found out, right? So what am I doing? I'm taking something simple, giving it a different perspective, a different twist, which is called surprise element or misdirection. Like, I remember saying this joke too, that helps a lot. Hey, man, first time I ever got pulled over for drag racing. Let's analyze that first statement. So what am I having the audience to think, right? Hey, I'm burning rubber, I'm going fast, right? I'm in the car, I'm drag racing. That's what that assumption of that statement is. So when I say it again, it's like, hey, I remember the first time I ever got pulled over for drag racing. Pause a little bit. Then the only reason why they stopped me is because I broke a heel. So that joke works all the time because they don't expect me dressed up as a man in women's clothes. So that's where the misdirection is. Remember, I'm taking them a certain way, and then I'm going to twist it. So I'm misdirecting it, and then I'm surprising them with a very different twist in the story. And so, again, very simple, basic things. Whatever your message is or whatever you're trying to convey, first of all, get all the facts, right? And humor is set up in the way, kind of like at a hospital, when someone flatlines and you see the beep, that means they're dead. Or they go up and down, beep, 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 beep. In comedy, you can do the same thing. Obviously, you don't want to flatline if it's bad, but you want to go up and down in your story. How? Just by incorporating different subtle things. You're acting out your dad, your mom, your dog, the cockroach, right? You're doing a little bit of misdirection, have them thinking one way, and then boom, you surprise them, right? And then you're also rehearsing these things. Do the best impression of your mom, dad, or whoever's in your story. So you take them through the beginning, right? The changes, or the state of mind you were in. The aha moment is going to be the pivot and the steps that you did after that to take you. So in my case, I'll give you an example. I can share of how I've gone from going to comedy, and I started in 1989 in Texas for 24 years, and I featured a lot. I took a break from comedy for 13 years. So in the last 2.5 years, I've headlined 5 times, became a contributing writer to a radio station. I've been on my friend's podcast, who is a famous comedian in San Antonio. He's been a big help in my life coming back because he's given me the opportunities in some of the stages. And so I work with him a lot. And again, all this knowledge, this information is very simple. I'm giving you 27 plus years, but I'm breaking it down very simple that you can follow, that you can learn, and it's going to help you improve your message, your story. You're in front of an audience. I'll help you with that. So, if you like what I'm talking about and you want to follow me more, just follow me. My email, I'll put it out there, but it's something that I've been working on. I've been in this space for a while. I've helped a lot of comedians and non-comedians understand comedy and help them in their performance, and they've gotten better. So I can help you. If you need some help, some advice, let me know. My name's Alonzo, and just hit me up. My email is alonzorenteria378@gmail.com. Appreciate it. Thank you.